Welcome to Thriving Your Love, a podcast where we will guide and help you improve your most precious relationships in life. This podcast is produced and hosted by certified emotionally focused therapist Claudio Vargas Silva, licensed marriage and family therapist, and Trisha Kim Walsh, also licensed marriage and family therapist. Welcome back, viewers and listeners, to Thriving Your Love with Trisha, me, and Claudia. We're back again, and we're on a roll with our podcast episode. So we're excited to have more important topics that we feel is so pertinent to what's going on in our daily lives. Today's topic is an important one. It is called insecure parenting. And Claudio, one of the questions that we were talking about earlier offline, which was really moving, is that being in parenthood is really an act of service. It is a choice. Now, sometimes people can learn their parents unexpectedly, but there is a privilege and an honor, and it can really bring up conflicts within when we're in this process of understanding our own needs, but also having expectations of what needs were not met when we were children. What was it like for us to not have those needs met and felt some void of loss? So one question that you shared earlier, Claudio, that I want to highlight for our listeners is around what happens if you didn't feel loved in your childhood? How does that affect your role in being a secure parent or being an insecure parent, Claudio?
Yes, very well said. Something that we have said before is that the way we parent has a lot to do with the way we were parented. And beyond that is also if we had our needs met in our childhood, if we felt loved, if we were able to connect with our parents, and if we were not able to connect with them, or we didn't feel important to them or loved by them. So what happens is that we can think that people don't love us, especially people who are close to us. And that can be our own children. We might have difficulty to believe that they love us, that we are important to them. And then, if they misbehave, if they do something that we disagree, we think they are doing that because they don't love us. So that is the problem because children are innocent. They're not planning to hurt their parents. I want to do this because I want to hurt you, because I don't care about you, because you don't mean anything to me. Like what you tell me is not important. So it's not personal. They're not thinking about that. They are just doing things that, because children are very spontaneous, like their behavior, their actions, they happen spontaneously. When we are adults, we think a little bit more on what we are going to do. We plan a little bit more, but kids, they are really very spontaneous. So they're not thinking about doing things to hurt us. But if we have this idea that we are unlovable or people don't like us, we might take that personally. And if we take that personally, we are switching the roles. We are seeing our children as those who need to give us the affection, the love that we didn't get when we were children, instead of we being there for them, Trisha.
Yeah, and as you say this, Claudio, I really invite our listeners, viewers, to meditate and to sit into your body as you hear this of our biological will to attach is enormous. The moment we take first breath, we are completely dependent on our caretakers. And we can understand this dynamic of this desperation that babies, children, teenagers never grow out of their need of their love and approval of their caretakers and their parents for survival, for physiological safety, but also their emotional safety. So I really invite us to remember moments in which we really wanted the validation from our parents. And also to be recalling moments in which you felt your parents caretakers might have reprimanded you for feelings that you were not following them in the way they wanted to discipline you or to be in the world. And so those consequences were, I don't feel loved by you, therefore I'm going to punish you, or I'm going to show you this is how you respect me. And I think about my childhood, Claudia, as my father was Korean identified and came from a cultural background where the role of the child was to please your parent, that you were to show your gratitude for all that you had in your life. Look to your left, look to your right, my father would say. And he'd say, this is all for you. This is you. So I everything I do is for you to have a better life. I mean, I was lucky that my dad would spell this out and let me know, but there was always this debt, this guilt that I had is I had to be perfect. So my operations and my system is I was highly anxious of ever making mistakes for fear that I wasn't giving enough love to my dad, and feeling that I think I hear with a lot of my East Asian and South Asian clients. And I know this is not unique to the Asian experience. I know other cultural groups experiences as well, is this ancestral burden that I felt is I need to make my family proud of me, or else I will lose that love and be an unlovable child. So these are things that come to mind, Claudio, is this cultural dynamic of the insecurity that children have and the burdens that children can be communicated at an early age is, I owe my life to you. I owe all of this to you. The American dream, which was something my dad came to this country to say, this is all for you. And how are you going to repay me? And
Mm,
I was like, Gladio, how do I ever repair that? Repay that, repair that for my dad, when I felt that in his own experience of my grandparents parenting him, is that he felt the debt that he was paying to them, and then came to me and said, I'm expecting you to do the same.
mhm. That's such a good example that you gave, Trisha, because you are communicating the switching of roles of your dad with you. Like he wanted you to give him that appreciation, right? That thankfulness. And actually, what he was asking is, hey, I want you to love me. I
Yes,
want to feel important to you.
yes,
You are important to me, and the way you treat me can make me feel really special and loved. But as you said, in some way it put on you like a debt and some heaviness and some worry, which was kind of hard for you. And what we see is that when a parent does that is because the parent didn't feel totally parented in other ways, right? Like didn't feel really loved, important, and brings that empathiness, brings that neediness to the parenting role. And then as the parent is parenting, is also trying to be a child of his or her child. Like, hey, I need your love to feel important. I have a hole inside of me. I didn't feel really special to my own parents. And I want to know if you think I am special to you, if you think I am important to you. And the parent is not really understanding that they are switching roles. They are not in this like wiser and stronger person that I am here for you. I am here to give to you. I am here to reassure that you are loved by me. You are important to me. I am taking care of you. I am protecting you. So the parent is in some way doing two things at the same time, which is very hard to do. Like, I am trying to be your parent, I'm trying to take care of you, but I have a child inside of me, a child that didn't feel loved, a child that doesn't know if I'm important to other people. And I want you to take care of this child that I have inside of me. And how are you going to do that? Well, you're going to do that by obeying to me, by being a good child, and doing everything right, making me proud, being always thankful to me, never become angry at me, never complain for anything. Because if you complain for anything, I'm going to tell you that you have to be grateful. You cannot complain. And this is a good question. What happens if the child is unable to switch role? If the child cannot be the parent? In other words, if this child doesn't obey this parent to do everything that the parent wants the child to do, what is going to happen now? What the parent is going to do as a result of that? And this is another way that sometimes can become really hard, because parents can protest to their children, as sometimes a partner can protest to the other that I don't feel loved by you, I am angry at you. So let's say that a parent, Trisha, will protest to the child, and how that protest will show up or will look like.
Yes, Claudio. And when we look at the EFT lens of the strategies that we do as human beings, and Sue really highlighted this based on the research that we see with attachment and the science of love, right? Is that children want to be believed. And there is a I'm careful when I say this, but there's a purity, right? There is an innocence of believing in your child's innocence, believing that they are also developing and they're learning and they're growing and they are seeking and understanding boundaries and understanding their role in their relationship with you. So if it becomes confusing, they will fight, flight, or freeze, right? And so in our EFT work, we call that pursuing. It still applies. It's a different kind of relationship than it would be your romantic partner, but there'll be the fight. There'll be the criticism. There'll be the defensiveness. There'll be the rebelling. There will be the withdrawing is I'm not going to let you in. I'm going to close the door on you. I'm going to put my earbuds in. I'm going to play my video game. I'm going to go see my friends. I'm going to punish you. And we understand that children are resilient. Children, teenagers are resilient. Young adults are resilient, that they'll find a way to repair. But deep down inside, and we know this, Claudia, working with kids and teenagers, is that this is really touching to me that in the years, and I've been doing this since 2008, Claudio. So I'd like to say with confidence that the number one deepest desire that children, teenagers want is to be believed and loved by their caretakers. I'm going to repeat that again because it's really important for those of you who are planning to have kids, that are pregnant, that do have precious little ones at home, or even the little ones that are now young adults or even estranged with you, is that your child, no matter if they are 2 or 82, they always will want, above everything, all the materialistic things that they could have, the nice cars, the nice jobs, the nice vacation, the toys. All of that pales in a comparison to number one, what they want to be is believed and be seen in the goodness of themselves, and that they are lovable by you as the parent. They want to also be a child. They want to play, they want to grow, they want to make mistakes, and they want to know that one can be forgiven, one can be worthy of that love and understanding, and that they won't take on the role of having to be in a position they never asked for. I never asked my dad to put that kind of burden on me. My dad never asked. But culture, spirituality, religion, all these things say is, I respect the role of parent to child, but really understanding what is our role. Are we the parent or are we the child, right, Claudio?
Yes, and what you said about believing in the innocence of the child. So for parents that in their childhood that they didn't feel loved and they felt hurt by their parents. So let's say that maybe they felt abandoned or neglected, or there was violence or some kind of physical abuse. They have difficulty of trusting other people, and then they might have difficulty of trusting their own children. They may think that the children don't love them. So let's say that the child disobeys, or the child does something the parent disagrees. The parent will think, well, this was done on purpose. And it was done because my child is a bad child and my child also wants to hurt me. My child is doing this purposefully, intentionally thinking about hurting me as my child's parent. Also, sometimes what happens is that this parent in their own childhood, their own parent had a negative thought of them, and now they have a negative thought of their own children. This becomes a problem. And in terms of what the parent does, and this is something very important for us to see because many parents, they are so concerned about discipline. And I have seen that for many parents, their focus in terms of parenting is discipline. They're not thinking about connecting emotionally to their children, having conversation, exploring their children's feelings, talking to their children about their own feelings of love to them. They focus a lot on discipline, and sometimes that discipline can take the form of a protest, and I would say even retaliation. Like, you are not doing what I told you to do, you're not being a good child, so I'm gonna punish you for that. But the punish is I'm punishing you because you don't love me. By you doing that, you are showing that I'm not important to you. So this is what I'm telling you, Trisha. When parents, they switch roles and they don't realize, they don't see that the discipline that they are doing is actually they are punishing their children for not loving them. When those children are not doing those things because they don't love their parents, but they can become angry, they can feel rejected, and they can harbor some resentment. But that resentment doesn't mean that the child doesn't love the parents. It's actually because the child doesn't feel loved by the parent. And it's the same thing that happened between this parent when they were children and their own parent. So, in other words, the story is repeating. And this is why it's so important for parents to take care of their inner child, that they don't switch roles, that they treat their inner child, that they try to grow emotionally, and that they are in a place of giving. I am not here for you to be nice to me, to do things to please me. You actually are doing things for yourself, and I want the best for you. I love you and I want you to succeed. You're not going to succeed to make me proud or to make me happy or for me to feel loved. You don't have to take care of me because I am here to take care of you. I'm here to give myself to you.
Right. Yeah, Claudia, all these things that you just named are incredibly beautiful. And there is a selflessness, right? There is that act of service that we were saying earlier, is how much it makes sense. And I work with so many couples like you do, Claudia, who say that they're honest. They do say, I do want to have a child so that they will love me. Of course. And the reminder is they do. Everything that a child, a teenager, young adult does, deep deep inside, there is a desire of making their family proud. I don't know one child or one teen that I've ever worked with that didn't have the greatest joy in seeing the joy of their parent or their caretaker be proud of them being successful in life. And so I want to, invite our listeners to be reminded of this incredible, selfless, securely attached love, is to say everything you do, you are worthy. And that it also starts here, Claudio, and this is the heartbeat of our podcast, Thriving Your Love, is it begins with us, is this love of taking care of the inner wounded child within that may not have received the love. But to be reminded of every intention that we have as human beings is to be seen as worthy, good enough, and valued. And the reminder is we are We are worthy. We are valued the moment we take our first breath. That's a given. But what do we do to feed ourselves, to nurture ourselves, not just physically, not literally, but also in how we take care of ourselves? And we hope that these messages of insight and wisdom, Claudio, that you're giving, and I get to have the joy of being in front of you to talk through this, is we hope that this is encouraging to you. We hope this is allowing you to get curious and to reflect on, how am I showing my love is not a condition, but being unconditional in your love.
Yeah. Thank you for attending to our podcast.
Yes, wonderful to have you as always. Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. We hope you'll join us soon again for our next episode of Thriving Your Love.